Did you know that women's health isn't just an inequality issue? It's also an economic one.
20 years ago, I started bringing together other executives and business leaders to talk about women's health. And what began as a desire to improve the well-being of women workers exposed me to something fundamentally wrong in women's health. In clinical research, women are an understudied species, which is hard to believe. And until 1993, women were not even part of clinical trials. Even more, until 2016, female mice were not included in clinical trials. This is not just an inequality issue, although it certainly is one, and it's also a social justice issue.
I didn't know. I, of all people, should have known better. I'm an MD and a Ph.D. and a woman, and I didn't know.
We know today that almost every disease affects women differently than it does men, because we know that every cell in the body has a sex. Yet we still don't prioritize and invest in research that focuses on women or even includes women in sufficient numbers.
Women's lifetime risk of developing Alzheimer's disease is almost 2 times that of men, and about 2/3 of all Alzheimer's disease cases are women. Our research has found significant differences in the ways that men and women experience brain diseases. Alzheimer's disease impacts men and women differently.
1 in 3 women across the world who will die of a heart attack. There was a study that recently came out that in the past 10 years, all the studies of cardiology were looked at. Only 36% of the participants in those studies were women. The FDA came out with a 10-year analysis of medications in over 300,000 participants. 36% were women, and 4% were African American women. We are basing our treatment paradigm on analyses and statistics that don't even apply to us.
So often these discussions on inclusion create a false dilemma. Include more women or include people of color? Why does there have to be a choice? Sex, gender, and race can coexist as significant variables within the same studies.
In October, the FDA approved a new drug to prevent HIV, and actually it was only approved for the male population because the drug developer did not consider any woman in the clinical trial design. And this is a huge problem.
Sex differences research is not just a women's issue. It's good science. And to combat this issue, we need a 360-degree approach that tackles both funding research and educating the medical community.
Biological differences between men and women mean that diseases and treatments for men and women should be different.
No business would make decisions based on information that excludes 50% of its customers. We shouldn't either.
The WHAM report is really critically important because we need to build the case for change, and that requires data. So I think that the WHAM report is going to really make that case and show not only what those significant disparities are, but also the economic impact.
As a female CEO, I know that women are the driving force in the global economy, yet health disparities continue to hold women back. This is not just bad for our families and communities, this is bad for our economy and for our world.
What if we were to accelerate women's health research? What impact might that have?
My partnership with WHAM is important to me because understanding why men and women may experience this disease differently, with different incidence rates and prevalence rates, different rates of progression, is vital to understanding how it is we're going to get to precision medicine.
That's why I'm excited about WHAM. It forces us all out of our disease silos and challenges researchers and economists to look across diseases that disproportionately impact women.
The WHAM Collaborative has really brought together tremendous leaders from multiple areas, including scientific, economic, business, who are all coming together focusing around a certain question of how can we improve women's health.
Expanding the pool of investors and leaders on this issue will really enable funding for scientists to make these critical breakthroughs, to ensure that we continue to support researchers and clinicians who prioritize this work.
WHAM is leading this charge, and is using compelling economic data to make the case for change.
I'm not a researcher, I'm not a clinician, I'm not a policy advocate, except I've become one. I know that everyone has a role to play in demanding changes that we want to see in our health system.
We need to insist on creating this change, one that will impact everyone by improving and equalizing health research and raise the economic well-being of women, our families, and the country's population. By asking the right questions, we'll find the right solutions.